Hello, hello. Welcome to Healthy Perspectives, a podcast that takes on current cultural and social issues through a clinical lens. Hello, hello. All right. Welcome back. Thank you so much for joining us. As always, we appreciate your time. So today I'm going to talk about something that's been really close to me for a very, very long time. Our children, who I have spent most of my adult life protecting. From the time that I turned 17, I went into the Marine Corps and I began to protect citizens of the United States, as well as, other places in various ways, all the way till now, when I still work with, teens, young people in my clinical practice. I have spent a lifetime protecting children. And they are under attack. I spent a few minutes looking back and thinking, oh my gosh, what are we doing to our children? Your tip of the day today, even inmates, death row inmates as well, even people who have been imprisoned because they do not follow the basic norms of life. Even they know there's something about children that is special. Even inmates know protecting children is important. If you went to prison and you're a child molester, you then get called a chomo, child molester, and you get banished essentially. The guards have to protect you because you are a different kind of evil, even in a prison filled with sometimes gang members, usually, filled with people who have been violent, maybe even murderers, filled with people who have stolen and been addicted to drugs and done burglaries and done horrible things, even people who have raped adults. There is a different class for people who harm children. And yet our children are still under attack. Now, I don't know if you can tell by the sound of my voice, but this drives me flipping nuts. Really, really nutty, because if you don't protect your children as a society, you have no future. Now, recently, I did a podcast with my brother, and we talked about the population decline that is on the horizon. And now I'm talking to you about our children being under attack. It's easy for me to understand why some people think that maybe we're approaching the end of existence as we know it. Biblical time stuff. I can understand that. I'm not sure if I'm there, but I could understand that because it seems to me that God has a special hold on children to keep even demons scared to harm children. But some people are getting awful brave. And maybe they're demons, maybe they're just evil people. But let me paint it for you a little bit. Let me give you a little picture of what's been going on. Child porn on the rise. Why? Cell phones. Children are now able to harm themselves, and others are taking advantage of that. Molestation and rape has always been a thing, even with children. But there's been always this special class of like, nah, don't go after the children. But then we hear about a principal in Oregon who's going to go to jail or prison for 5 years because of child pornography. He was the principal of a school Evil has infiltrated our most fundamental places, our schools, probably many churches. Let's be real. They have infiltrated our businesses. Now, this isn't, I'm not trying to do this to like scare all of you. I'm just trying to do it because I want to wake you up. Sexualization of children. You ever seen a beauty pageant or a dance? What do they call that? The dance moms. I know. I walked in one day. I saw that on my TV. I was like, "What is it?" That show drives me nuts. It's sexualization of children. It's not about dance as much as it is about sexualizing a child. Ugh, creeps me out. Drugs. We start drugging our children way too early. If ever, you shouldn't do it at all. But like SSRIs, Ritalin, all these things, we drug our children for our comfort. What the actual crud are we doing? I mean, my kid can't sit still, so I gotta, what? Then send them out to the field and have them pick flowers. Teach them differently. But no, we want our comfort. So we drug our children. What? They were caged. Think about this. In 2020, with COVID, we caged our children. We said, be like us, be scared. Even though it was really clear that the children were not having significant issues. We're like, still cage them, put things around their desk, prevent them from having normal human contact. We then also, we flip that coin. We empower them in ways they shouldn't be empowered. They curse at the police and they flip off their teachers. Violence. Not only kids being violent, but around them. The violence that they see because of the divisive nature of the way adults are working or not working with each other. Hatred. And I don't understand how a person can do this. Totally. I mean, I try to empathize. I really do. But abandonment. People who just leave their children. And it happens. Like you would, you got a bad cat and you take it to the pound. And you drop it off. And you're like, hey, good luck. People do that with children. Now, some of these have been ongoing things for a long time. Some of these are brand new. I put into an AI search because I just wanted to see, hey, how would I talk about this with people? And it tells me, literally, this is its summary. Its summary. In short, lead with hope plus evidence plus a multi-level support rather than fear plus individual blame plus rescue. That's what it said. Literally says that. This approach is more likely to build broad public support, reduce stigma in seeking help, and actually lowering the rates of maltreatment according to prevention science. No, I totally disagree. I think let's start off with acknowledge the damn problem. You have to start off with understanding this is reality. We have accepted as a culture, a global culture for real, but definitely in the United States, we have accepted that harming children is just part of life. We just said, it's okay. Essentially, by our silence, by our talking positively about it. No. Absolutely not. I 100% disagree with the AI. We need to look at the problem and say to ourselves, is this who we are? How about we start with this? Is this who I am? Now, not all of you have a podcast. Not too many people listen to my podcast. Probably, maybe I'm wrong about this, but I think it's actually because it's just too reasonable. People don't want reasonable. They want extreme. And I am not extreme. I am intense. I am passionate, but I'm not extreme. I'm not going to tell you, I hate Donald Trump. I hate Joe Biden. I am going to tell you things like there's things they do I agree with and disagree with. That's just way too reasonable. So I was thinking about how in the world do I send you a quick message saying, here's the problem? And then what can I do about it? And I got to thinking when I do parent seminars, training, one of the things I love giving out because it's based on a longitudinal study. This part the AI got right, giving you some facts, some evidence-based facts can be very helpful. I'm going to give you categories to consider. I'm going to give you 40 of them, actually. 40 categories to consider. Okay? Are you ready? All right. So let's start with it's broken down into two separate areas. All right? Internal and external. Internal and external. And they're called assets. They're called the 40 developmental assets. And based on longitudinal studies, those come down into 4 categories each. Internal, external, 2 categories, and then 4 categories within those internal and external assets. One is support. One is empowerment. Another is boundaries and expectations, which we are not particularly good at in general. I ask people like, what are boundaries? And they say, well, they're the things that we don't want to do or want to do. And we set a boundary. Wait till the AI translates. Okay. But boundaries are about safety and comfort. And people cannot figure that out. Once I say it out loud, they're like, yeah, that makes sense. But until I state it directly, they're like, well, it's what I do when I don't want to do something, or I want to do something else, or like, The 4th category is constructive use of time. So going back to the support category, I'm going to give you the external assets. These are things outside of the kid that need to be in place. By the way, this longitudinal study is very good study. It's been going on since the 90s. For those of you who know longitudinal studies, they're very expensive, so they rarely go for that long. Usually getting a 6 to 10 year longitudinal study is like a miracle. This has been going on since the 90s. It's now owned by the Search Institute. However, it has changed hands multiple times because it's such good data. People are like, I want the data. So they buy it, and it went from like a university and now it's with the Search Institute. Okay. So under the support category for external assets, family support. We don't even know what families are. I sat down with a bunch of people and said, what is family? They struggled hardcore. Positive family communication. Again, we barely know what a family is. And when it comes to communication, dude, I could give you a basic lesson on communication that I tell 30 and 40-year-olds. And they're like, wow, how come nobody ever said that before? So now we're dealing with 2 categories we are very unfamiliar with. Other adult relationships. In 2026, sending your kid to another adult to hang out is terrifying for most people because of the divisive nature of our culture. A caring neighborhood, caring school climate, ugh, and parent involvement in schooling, all of which are a struggle in general in our culture. Okay, those are the external. What are the internal? Well, we're going to get to the internal because they're categorically different. So let's go to the empowerment part of the external assets. Empowerment for external. Community values, youth as resources. What roles are we giving our kids? Service to others. How are they contributing to our society? Because they should have a role and contribute. And safety. Again, these categories, you got to take a look at them. If you have to stop and write these things down, then do it. Because if your kids have these things in place, their chance for success and healthiness and happiness go way up. And unfortunately, we're trying to counter a cultural narrative that says, you children are here for us. You are pawns for our politicians. You are pawns for our educators. You are nothing but whatever you can do for me. We got to send them a different message. Boundaries and expectations, family boundaries, school boundaries, neighborhood boundaries. If you don't know what boundaries are, if you don't know why we set boundaries, how are you doing these, folks? Check your family, check yourself for these categories. Adult role models, positive peer influence, absolutely critical in the teen years. Early adolescence, you could get away with them having some friends that aren't so good. But when you hit those teen years, if they're not positive peer influences, they're screwed. You have set them up to fail. And then high expectations. I actually changed that. I think expectations we got to be careful to manage, which we could get into the details of the research. I think they're actually calling it expectations when it might be something slightly different. But understand, there has to be an overall, we think you can reach a bar that is higher than what you're striving toward. Because we do know that people underperform usually by 20% or more. Okay. And that's really what it's hitting at there. The next category, constructive use of time, creative activities, youth programs, whether that be at church, at school, at home, peer relationships, people coming into your home, your kid going to other places and doing things, go into a football game and staying sober. Okay. Religious community. That's in there. It's in the research. Time at home with nothing special to do. Just spending time. Okay, let's take a look at the internal assets before I get you out of here, okay? Commitment to learning. This is the category. Achievement motivation, school engagement, even if that's homeschool, they have to be engaged. Homework, they have to do stuff. It can't be too easy. Matter of fact, I'd rather it be a little bit too hard. Bonding to the school. If you're homeschooling, they have to be bonded to the home as being a valuable, important place. Go do some service projects, stuff like that. Go on field trips, stuff like that. And then reading for pleasure. Next category, positive values. I'm going to go quickly. Caring, justice, integrity, honesty, responsibility, and listen to this one, restraint. You don't always get what you want, or you don't get it at the same time that you think you want it every time. Restraint. Next category, social competencies, planning and decision-making, interpersonal competence, cultural competence. Do you see what's happening in the world around you? Do you see that the divisiveness that's happening in the adult community is not healthy. And are you willing to do something different? Resistance skills, the ability to say no under healthy conditions. Be like, no, not going to do that. Don't want to do that. That's not good for me. Not good for you either. You probably shouldn't. Peaceful conflict resolution. When it says that, it's specifically only talking about nonviolent reconciliations. Okay. Last category is positive identity. Personal power. They understand that they are a human with autonomy, the ability to act within guidelines or outside of the guidelines, and they start to choose to act within them. Healthy guidelines, that is. Self-esteem, sense of purpose. Oh my gosh, folks, this is missing. Positive view of personal future. Folks, I gave you 40 in like 10 minutes. I gave you 40 different categories that you should be looking at to address the direct issue of our children being under attack. Now, if you're a community member, you still have an obligation to do this thing. Go through these 40 developmental assets. Go through them and figure out, is there a space in here where I can be an external asset for children? If you're not doing that, you're part of the problem. Don't depend on the school or the church or your friend. Be the action. Be it. Be the one who says, I can do really good, important things in this category, and then do it. Folks, if we want our children to do better than we are doing, we have to start by acknowledging that they are under attack and do our part to create safety, not comfort, safety for them. That's the boundary setting. And give them the space to explore a world that allows them to see our flaws and live better lives because we set them up for it. They should surpass us. But if we don't acknowledge that that our children are under attack, not just in America, but all over the globe, we're never going to fix this. So start there. Acknowledge it's a real problem. And then find one of those developmental assets. External, be the external asset, or internal. Help them develop those internal assets. I hope this helps. I know I went pretty quick, but let me know if you need me to dive into any particular thing a little bit more. Happy to do so, but you got to let me know. Thank you so much for liking, subscribing, following, and all those things. We'll see you next time. Hey, everybody. Thanks for listening. We appreciate our audience a lot, so we give you some simple ways to track us down. Please like, subscribe, and follow all the podcasts on different platforms, but you can also email us at healthyperspectives@protonmail.com, or you can check out our website at healthy-perspectives.com/podcast. It's a backward slash. So if you want to go to our landing page, if you go to healthy-perspectives.com, you'll still find us. You just got to click on the podcast button. Thank you so much.